defining Maina Wanjigi's distinguished career as a public servant. He never dropped that character. Again, village life taught him the power of togetherness and the formation of cohesive groups. He loved songs and dance, and those who saw him as Kamkunji MP knew his love for songs and Nyakenywa dancers. From an early age, he loved storytelling, which explains his debating prowess as a member of parliament. He loved listening to his grandmother's gripping tales while eating roast sweet potatoes. Maina Wanjigi was brilliant. In the entire location, he was the only one who had passed to join Kagumo Intermediary School in 1943. It was the year of the famine, the cassava famine, or what the Kikuyus called, so touched. Ngaragu Yamiaga. He would describe the ugali from cassava flour to tasteless, monotonous, and elastic. He hated it. A depressing necessity. It was at Kagumo that his dreams of a better future were enlarged. Skoke virtues were inculcated in Kagumo: confidence, hard work, courage, and respect. He says as much in his autobiography. He wanted to join Alliance, which to him epitomized academic excellence. Wanjigi did not aspire for second place. He had heard of Carrie Francis. Carrie Francis was the head of Alliance. He actually put the school on the map, whose fame had reached different parts of the country. Finally, in the Kegumo class of 1946, he was among the 6 students who triumphed to join Alliance. He later remarked, "I was on top of the world," and indeed he was. His first meeting with Carrie Francis was frightening. He wanted to know if Maina Wanjigi was baptized. Apparently, he had been admitted to Kagumo as Maina Wanjigi. He told Carrie Francis that his baptismal name was James. It may have been an invention, for he could not have joined Alliance if he had not been a Christian. Thus, James became part of his Alliance records. James Maina, Form 1A, admission number 953. Though it was a boys' school, one girl was in his class, Margaret Wambui Kenyatta. Maina Wanjigi, perhaps James, was good in biology and chemistry. His leadership qualities were noticed within these academic spaces. He became a medical prefect attending to students' health. He was nicknamed Dr. Daktari and was adored by students. Maina Wanjigi was also involved in business at an early age. He would accompany his father to Murang'a railway station and Thika to sell waterbark, maguko, and he watched how his friends easily made friends and treated everybody. He inherited that virtue from him. A lesson of hard work and entrepreneurship that had informed his later life. He would be involved in the setting up of his own companies and running vast business. The Kwacha Group remains a signature of this spirit. Alliance, a lot to him. He traced his missing mother to Modurwa in Nairobi. He also taught Sunday school at Rogiri Primary and learned the value of giving without expecting anything in return. At one point, he abandoned his studies when his best friend David Kayanda couldn't join Makerere. David Kayanda was the first mayor of Mombasa. It was a moment of true solidarity. But Kerry Francis found him hiding in Nakuru and convinced him to rejoin school. Apparently, he was the only student from Alliance admitted to study sciences, biology, physics, and chemistry, leading to a future in medicine, veterinary science, and agriculture. I want to re-emphasize that. He was the only student admitted to Alliance that was admitted in Alliance to study sciences. He had no interest in medicine, but he loved agriculture. In 1952, Wanjigi joined Makerere University, a turbulent year marked by the state of emergency and Mau Mau uprising. He passionately supported the Mau Mau cause, singing their protest songs and becoming part of the struggle from within Makerere. Eventually, the colonial law caught up with him and he was deported to Wahondora, his home village. He started teaching thereafter at Pumwani Primary School here in Nairobi. And yet again, once again, Kerry Francis tracked him down. He loved my father and sent him back to Makerere, securing a scholarship for him. Because of his activism in Mau Mau, they had cancelled his scholarship, and Kerry Francis had it reinstated. He graduated with a diploma and worked as an agriculture officer in Mogoidi, Murang'a. In 1958, he fought hard to have his mother released from Mau Mau prison in Kamiti, a prison she shared with Mama Ngina Kenyatta. An illustrator of Wanjigi's love, which would transcend anything else. Maina Wanjigi met the love of his life, my dear Mother Maria, or Mary Wambui, when she was only 19 years old during the state of emergency. It was love that blossomed within limited freedoms and spaces where terror thrived. In between, Maina Wanjigi earned a U.S. scholarship to study in the U.S. His question was, would Maria wait for me? He was going to be out for 4 years. A marriage had to be done in a hurry. He did not want to risk it. It was a traditional wedding followed by a church wedding in Kianguni Catholic Church. In 2 months thereafter, he was gone. The American dream was everybody's dream. Wanjigi joined the University of Connecticut in Hartford, pursuing graduate work. He later registered for a master's degree in agricultural economics at the Stanford University, one of the best in the world. Here he learned that Maria had given birth to Chinge, our first child, firstborn Wangeshi, named after Maina Wanjigi's mother. That day, he smoked a cigar in celebration, together with his friends. He never smoked again. He said he coughed for something like 40 minutes, he believed. In mid-1961, Maina Wanjigi graduated from Stanford and returned to form the foundation of an emerging nation. It was the dawn of independence, when new black internationalists were fighting to fill the intellectual spaces hitherto occupied by white settlers and administrators. Maina Wanjigi returned to the point where Jomo Kenyatta was being released from prison. He was posted to Nyeri as the Deputy Agricultural Officer, though he was much more educated than his white superiors. He was thrown into mediocre jobs, but still did it with gusto. It was Maina Wanjigi at his best. In 1962, they had their second child, yours truly. And in 1964, Nancy, followed by Sunny in 1965. All of them born on a Saturday. All of us, in other words, were born on a Saturday. After he moved to Nairobi, agriculture and politics became part of his life. Kenyatta appointed him to oversee the million-acre scheme as director of settlement. It was a period when his integrity and quest for justice were put to the test. He passed the test, and history has recorded that. He questioned land grabbing and policy failures on land. Anybody who has any study of land, look into the archives and study something called the Z plots. He wrote many letters to his superiors. The competing interests, unfortunately, finally won, and the rest is history. He was the founding father of various settlements. He settled thousands and thousands of people across this country. When he joined ICDC, he would also play a major role in the Africanization of business. I want to repeat, as he settled thousands and thousands of people around this country as director of settlement to small acre holdings, he did not take even a pinch of an acre, a quarter of an acre, a half an acre, an eighth of an acre for himself. He did a work of service. He oversaw the establishment of KNTC, a major consumer distributor. Ever-ready batteries also began at that time, and very many others. He was perhaps best known in politics as the MP of Kamkunji. In 1969, he replaced Tom Mboya, who had just been assassinated, and was appointed an assistant minister by Jomo Kenyatta. His record in various ministries that he served is well illustrated as part of Kenya's history. He championed establishing the pineapple industry in Kenya. Del Monte, that you see today. Macadamia industry. This I just want to get off the program a bit. Him and the late Bruce Mackenzie, who was the first Minister for Agriculture, went on a trip to Hawaii. And whilst there, they discovered macadamia nuts. And they decided, after understanding where it grows, that they must bring it to Kenya. But since there were a lot of crop restriction laws, they decided that they were going to smuggle them in. So he carried Bruce Mackenzie's briefcase, and in it, he carried macadamia seeds. And Bruce Mackenzie's wife, Christine, put some in her wig and brought them over. And that is where the first plant of macadamia came. You should give them a big clap. They are. On development in Murang'a, he was behind the establishment of the Murang'a College of Technology, later the Murang'a University, together with Murang'a leaders including Dr. Kiano and Bethwo Gishaga. In 1974, Jomo Kenyatta finally opened the college. There's one other thing I'd like to mention that's not here. He is a landmark in history when he was Minister for Tourism for setting a target of 1 million tourists in Kenya. At the time, we were under 100,000. This was in the late 70s, early 80s. He also is a pioneer when he was Minister of Property, of what you now call Sacco societies. So those who are in chamas, please know where it all began. It was Maina Wanjigi. If anything can be written about his politics, is that he stood with the people he represented. He took the bullet for them. This is what happened in the famous Muoroto eviction. Maina Wanjigi told the truth and paid for it. He was interrogated in Nyaya House, kicked out of Kanu, and then spent time in the trenches. Maina Wanjigi wined and dined with the high and mighty. It never went to his head. He was still the shepherd boy. By the time he passed, he left a legacy worth emulating. He's a lighthouse that continues to shine. May he rest in peace. Thank you very much.
What a beautiful eulogy. I think that with that I understand completely why the family chose this song.